And we are live.
Maybe you can go. Ping Arlen.
Yeah, I can do that. I'm going to give Joel permission to talk since he was running all our
Yeah,
Discord stuff.
absolutely.
Actually, I wonder... Did I lose him? He was there.
I'm still here.
Oh, there you are. You got moved to the top.
Interesting.
That's why. Okay. It booted him briefly. He'll rejoin as a panelist.
Okay.
That seemed easier. There you are.
All right.
There he is. I love that background.
We can let you talk too if you want, Adam. Blah, ha, ha, ha. I will use my mad hosting powers and just make him a panelist. All right, we're still a minute or so from getting started. Please use the Q&A function or the chat function, or raise your hand and I will unmute you and you can jump in and talk with us. We're really just here to find out from you what went well and what didn't. So throw flowers or vegetables at us, your choice.
That would be kind of funny if we could get
Virtual flowers.
Virtual flowers or virtual splats on the screen, yeah.
And just a reminder, please send your comments. If you click in the chat, there's an option for panelists and attendees. That way everyone can follow along with the conversation.
Scott's laughing at me because my response was, "Oh, dang it, they made me a panelist."
Yep. You and Brenda.
Yeah, but they aren't showing up on the screen.
They may have their video off. That's okay.
I have my video off because I'm lying on my bed.
Okay. Yeah, we don't. Too much information.
And Linda, you can set it to not show
fussy.
video, or you can set it to not show non-video participants or have it show non-video participants.
Yep, that's absolutely an option. We have one comment so far from Joe. Thought the con was good overall. However, it might have been helpful to have tips for Discord.
And can you fill in, I guess, kind of I guess, I tried to give as much information as I could on how to get people in, but I'm interested to hear what kind of tips you're especially interested in, because that's definitely something I can fill in. And obviously, since the intent is for Discord to be at least somewhat an ongoing thing, I'd love to make sure that that's available maybe sooner rather than later. So if you're looking for Go ahead.
Just, I guess, a little bit of tips for people new to the platform, because I'm new to the platform and I'm not really technically unsavvy, but I guess with everything that was going on, it was just a little overwhelming. And I guess like maybe some user-friendly tips before you go onto the server. I suspect I'm not alone in this, but just like a few, even like a little walkthrough or something for people that are new, because I feel it might have, not everybody, but might have confused a few people.
Our original plan that we ran out of time and could not do was to have tutorials. We managed to get tutorials for our panelists, but we never managed to get to the attendee tutorials before the convention. So we wanted to have tutorials for navigating, logging in and navigating the website, and logging it, registering and navigating in Discord, but we just ran out of time. We just didn't have time to get it all done. So the thought was there, just, things didn't happen the way we wanted them to. Maybe next time.
And then, I'm sorry, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Jyoti?
Yep, that's me.
Okay. I had some comments on advertising.
Yes. Well, I understand to a degree that a lot of the advertising does need to be the shop people themselves in the different channels. I don't feel like it was really made clear what channels, until like halfway through yesterday, what channels we can plug our shops in. And then with the website going down, no one could even link to at least the MileHiCon things for our shops. And then from that, really no one was able to, unless people were putting in the links to their actual websites, no one could see anything.
Yeah, that's correct. That was kind of beyond our control.
No, I definitely understand that. I'm not trying to
yeah.
you guys screwed that up, but
Yeah.
but I don't know. I guess it kind of felt like everything was thrown together and not beta tested.
As far as Friday goes, you're absolutely right, because we were hit with that thing down and it was like, oh my God, what are we going to do? So we managed to get the programs up and going again. And to us at that point in time, that's mostly where all of our thought process was, to make sure the programs were up for people to see. And putting the vendors, putting a vendors channel in on Discord was kind of a later thought. We could have thought of that earlier, but nobody did. Sorry about that. But yeah, it was we were kind of running around in circles for a little while until we got some stuff figured out. So we did our best. We learned a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been lovely for this to do a little test convention with a smaller sample, but so many of the things were, well, this might work and that might work, and because of the nature of it, because all of the people who have departments at MileHiCon know how to do this in the real world, but doing it this way and not knowing when, I mean, it was something of, it was a little bit chaotic. Learning curve is a good way to put it. We had to figure out how to do all of these things. And
No, agreed. Could I get a little clarification, King W, on the scheduling listed on the programming pages were incorrect as to what was playing?
He's in the central time zone, I believe, so Jen might be able to address that.
Actually, that's my fault. I didn't realize the time. I made a mistake with the coding for the schedule on the pages. I thought I had that fixed Friday night, so it was supposed to have been working on Saturday, but apparently it wasn't. And the very limited testing, I had one person test it from another time zone and it seemed to be working, but I apologize for that. That's entirely me. And so I'm sorry about that. Yeah, the links were all on Friday when, as soon as I realized it was a problem, I came up with a fix. And because the site was down, I couldn't do anything about it until Friday night, and then I didn't have a chance to test it. So all my fault.
Joel, I was going to say, I mean, I think the application bot worked not perfect. I mean, we did have some people have to go through it multiple times, but it kind of worked. I'd like to, if we do this virtual next year, particularly with this new skills I learned on writing bots, I'll work with you to kind of integrate that more into the WooCommerce site, etc., to make that process a little bit smoother.
Or we could just shoot ourselves in the head. if we're still doing everything virtual by a year from now.
I mean,
Sorry,
I've got my fingers crossed that that we really will be able to do this in person. But I think, you know, I think it's probably wise to at least, you know, to at least think of those things, because, you know, we may very well be here next year. But yeah, I agree. I definitely feel like, you know, if we can put some time into, you know, automating more of that, and hopefully making it, you know, in general a little more accessible, because I definitely felt like I had to walk a number of people through the you know, kind of the process of, you know, checking direct messages and just kind of generally, you know, ensuring that they kind of figured out all the interactions, you know. And I didn't, you know, fully anticipate that they were gonna that, you know, that there were going to be quite as many challenges there.
Yeah, honestly, if we were doing this again a month from now, I would be pushing for much more automation between Zoom, the website, the registration system, and Discord, so that it felt like the problem is, yeah, and Twitch for that matter, we have all of these technologies that aren't quite designed for what we want to do with them. So making them all play together in a meaningful way was tricky.
Yeah, I mean, on Friday, well, actually Thursday, I started trying to write a bot to do the integration, but then with the website down Friday, I couldn't do that portion of it. And I think if we can do some more of that stuff, of integrating that stuff, it will be a lot smoother, so that we don't have people going, okay, where is this? We can make sure the information is consistent.
Yeah. And for what it's worth, Zoom had their conference. Zoom, the service, had their conference about a week ago, and Jen attended it. And they kept crashing their own sessions and cutting themselves off. So which didn't fill us with a great deal of confidence, I have to say. But it's like, if Zoom, the prototypical, this is what we do, if they were having trouble, you know, so.
But we didn't have any problem with the Zoom part. It was the other parts, yeah. Now, some of the program before I was on with the guests of honor, they were saying that some of them had been to earlier conventions earlier in the spring, like the really early virtual ones where the people only had a few weeks to get something together. And I guess some of those were total nightmares. So they thought our convention was a breeze compared to some of those. But I told them that we had several of our people had watched and attended other virtual conventions to basically learn. And so I think we did learn a lot, even though we did have some issues, but we didn't have some of the issues the early conventions had, to where it was a nightmare even for their guests and their panelists.
Yeah, I also wanted to say, I may have missed this because I got late because I had a previous panel. But so first off, Alan Bond from NASFIC spent a lot of time just talking through how they did stuff and their problems and so forth. They're very generous. Other conventions were helpful. I have to, if they're watching or not, throw out a huge thank you to all of the hosts on both Zoom and Discord for just working through long shifts, doing incredible amounts of really weird fiddly things. Just a side note, please, if you have a Chromebook, burn it now, because Almost every Zoom problem we had was related to someone using a Zoom Chromebook. But anyway, I have to say this, watching what Jin did on Friday under the most difficult circumstances, just incredible. So, yes, we were down for a long time, but we were up again Saturday because of her working really, really long hours doing ridiculously complicated things. So I cannot say enough.
And
And
I want,
Yep.
alongside
ahead.
that, I really sorry, Adam.
Yeah.
Alongside that, I really want to thank the the attendees for being super patient with us as we worked through
Yep.
all all the funny little fallout of how to make it all happen, mostly on Discord, as we were trying to put things back together on Friday. So thanks for hanging in with us, and thanks for frankly making it a lively, fun time, certainly for us.
Yeah. And Joel,
Yeah,
if you hadn't had Discord doing what you were doing on Friday, we would have been stuck. I mean, I would have loved for us to have coordinated all of the channels and stuff a little earlier than we did, but once it was up and running, it was the convention for Friday. If we didn't have that, so kudos. I mean, just amazing.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I wanted to say to Jen, this is in no way a dig on you. I would think that we might want to look at how we're hosting the site, not just the custom server, but the dynamicness of it and whether that led to some of the problems. But that's for an after action review of the convention. Just
Yeah,
so we don't have those
I'm planning
problems.
on looking at some of that stuff. I definitely want to have a post-mortem with as many techies as I can get and kind of figure out what we want our technical approach to be going forward, how we want to structure the website, integrate into Discord or other platforms, all that kind of stuff, and just kind of get a uniform, coherent plan together, probably within the next month, since that's how long we have this virtual hosting thing for. And then we'll move forward on whatever the next, whether we're modifying our main website or that kind of stuff, and just seeing what we're going from there.
Yep, absolutely. I've got a pile of comments in the chat, so I'm just going to start pulling those in. Rose had a lot to say. One, kudos to the amazing tech team who did so much work behind the scenes, including Jen, Joel, Arlen, Meg, Brenda, Thanmore, Netno Mom, Adam. While I hope we can do an IRL masquerade next year, I thought this year's went really well. Kudos to CJ Ward for the great video and all of our entrants. I wonder if doing a parallel virtual masquerade might be a potential addition, especially since our best of show / audience favorite winner was from Florida. We know it's already been talking about, but having some virtual online elements to MHC 53 in future seems wonderful. Kudos to the rest of the ConCom, including those whose normal jobs were made impossible this year and who stepped in to help in other ways. And then one quibble. Tech things weren't finalized as early as would have been ideal. And also kudos and plaudits again to the tech team with flowers, chalkies, and booze. Keith McClune would like us to document our process, not just for ourselves, but for other conventions, so they may have an easier time. Lots of people down for a hybrid convention. Thank you so much for the effort. Aside from sort of tech issues, which I think are given, what you've been able to produce was nothing short of amazing. Liked the recorded readings, made it really convenient to advertise on various Facebook pages. Tech team was the bomb. Thank you, Erica. I worked hard so that we never had more than 2 panels live at the same time, just to keep it easier on our
Thank
Zoom hosts.
you.
And I personally liked the breathing room. Note on vendor pages, a little disappointed in those. Also paid for a banner, but didn't see it on the panels. That was Andrea. Yes, King W, we've been holding, this is MileHiCon 52. We've been doing live conventions for decades and virtuals for not a whole lot of
Hours.
time.
One, yeah, hours, yes. Days, a few days, yeah, that's it. What 1% of our existence, yes.
Yes. Cats making appearances. Everybody loves cats. My professional group had to switch from an in-person event to an online event in the space of 2.5 weeks. So every hat that I have is off to everyone who worked on pulling this off so well. Got a couple, Dana's gonna see what other cons are gonna be virtual and be a participant at them. Thought Saturday and Sunday went well after I figured stuff out. I attended online Comic-Con in July, which felt kind of cold because most panels were pre-recorded. Very good con. I really enjoyed myself, but directly requesting comments and criticisms. The only one that made it frustrating was the vendors selling links in the exhibitor's menu and finding the links to the sites of selling. Perhaps a normal hyperlink below the photos, in addition to the link in the photos, will help in the future.
Yes, the theme we were trying to use this year was nowhere near as cooperative as I had anticipated it would be. And I spent many hours trying to make it, and it just did not want to cooperate at all. So I am very apologetic to all the exhibitors for that, on how that did not work as well as we had hoped.
One thing, by the way, I'm surrounded by computers right now. You can't see them in the shot. I had all of the panels playing. So I saw way more of the convention than I would normally see. And I was just blown away by the quality of the, nothing to do with what we were doing, but other than Meg for figuring out who to put where. Just amazing breadth of quality. I know I'm usually the negative one, and I have lots of negative thoughts, but just almost every panel I saw part of, I'm like, I really want to watch this, which is great because they were recorded. And the guests of honor, I think we could actually just run a convention of Cory Doctorow for 3 days just talking. I'd be thrilled to go to that, let alone our other guests. But I also have to say, by far my favorite thing I heard was Courtney signing off for one of the panels. He said, which was, "I hope to see you and smell you next year."
That's good.
Yeah. So that's kind of the motto for me for the convention. Next year, odor.
Next year, odor. Frank, to address your question about best practices for other virtual cons, certainly that's something we can talk about and maybe get a blog post up on the MileHiCon website.
Yeah, I'm going to write something up on the Zoom stuff that I did just so I don't forget, so I can send that to you guys if you're interested.
That's a good idea. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Kudos to you, Arlen. I really, really, really appreciated how easy it was for all of our participants to get into their Zooms with all the links sent out ahead of time and all of that. So thank you. That made life so much easier.
Well,
Yep.
thanks.
Yep.
I was terrified that the links were going to work until probably halfway through Saturday. So
Yeah.
To your answer, Heather M., the content will be up on the MileHiCon YouTube channel for probably at least the next 60 days, Linda.
Oh, at least, maybe more, depending. We might not keep everything up, but we'll keep some stuff up.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'm still stuck in YouTube jail and cannot upload any of the remainder of the Saturday panels. So I've got to, we got to give you a little extra time because it's going to take me a little extra time to get it up.
I wanted to actually compliment the attendees in that on the Discord side of things, and Joel can confirm this, I don't think we actually had to do any moderation on the Discord side. It was just mostly coordinating and stuff.
Yeah, and I was, it was kind of nice. I didn't see anyone particularly get out of line. It was super positive. It was, it was super, it was super fun. Even just catching the edges of conversations coming out of panels and things was, probably a broader view of the con than I ever see in person. So that was really, fulfilling and refreshing to me.
And I agree with that too, because we had zero problems, but in other conventions that I had attended, other virtual conventions, and this was where I said, no, we need hosts. We have to have hosts on Discord, because the other conventions have problems with people, getting irate and yelling at people in the chat rooms and saying things they shouldn't say. And other groups had problems with that. And here, nope, we had our wonderful attendees. Everybody was great, had no problems. Nobody was saying anything unruly or being unruly. They're all being positive and nice and funny. And it was a great group of people.
I hear you, John, and on the clutches, we were kind of treating the non-guest of honors just like we would a regular convention, but definitely keep that in mind for next year. If we have virtual clutches, we'll have signups so that people like Barbara Hamley are aware there's only one person signed up for her clutch.
Yeah, most of the clutches actually had much better attendance, but some of it was a timing thing with what else was going on, and I think with hers, I also didn't put the announcement out in a timely fashion. So,
Yeah, we have a note.
I definitely wanted to go to several of the clutches, but there was no way that was possible.
Let's see. Jim Henderson, I thought it overall went well, but I was honestly quite confused about what the con included and didn't. For instance, I had virtually no understanding of Authors Row or Vendors Row. I think that's somewhere that we can work to make a little more obvious for next year.
Going to offer my apologies here. I actually need to step out and pick up a kid. I'll hopefully be back, but we'll see, kind of how things are going when I get back here.
Joel, this is your kid, right? Not just some arbitrary kid.
Oh no, this is my kid.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joel.
On the vendors and authors row and exhibitors stuff, yeah, we really went back and forth a lot on how to actually make that effective for them and make it worth the time and money. And it did not, Chelsea, you need to be quiet, honey. Sorry. It did not work out anywhere near as well as we'd hoped. But it is something that we've looked at, and we want to try, if we have to do a virtual, we want to try to figure out a much better way to present that for our vendors. And Scott and I have been talking a bit about having virtual elements to the vendors room as well. It kind of expanding the profiles that we've had in the past and things like that. So.
Kudos to Arlen. And Bruce sends us kudos to Arlen and looks forward to being more involved with any virtual part of, as well as the IRL. Yes, we will have a virtual dead dog. We will get that started after this. I don't know. Would someone like to address this question about art show? I wish I had been able to peruse a virtual art show. You could almost set up an eBay type format for auction. I don't like to war with people, but then again, I did like to war with people.
Yeah, I think that was something that was discussed, and there were a lot of questions about getting the artist to be able to provide stuff in the right way, and it just.
Payment was another factor on that one. Whether if they were posting up their own pictures, if we'd be taking the payment and then having to transfer over to them. There was just a lot of logistics that would have gone into that we didn't think we had the time to properly figure out.
Hold on.
Sorry, just answering a question.
Oh, a DVD copy of all the recorded panels, someone suggested. That would be interesting.
Nice idea, but we never got permission from all of our panelists. So I would say
Yeah.
no. We got permission to have recordings on YouTube, but we didn't get permissions to put out DVDs. Plus, that would cost us extra money, extra time.
Yeah. Plus, I
extra
could already,
shipping.
plus I
Yeah.
could hear Timmy laughing at us for the idea of putting something onto recorded media that is then provided in this day and age. But
Yeah.
I think he's probably just assuming we're old. But there are several panels where I heard the first half or the second half of the first quarter where I am very much looking forward to going back and
Yeah, me
watching.
too. Me too. I'd get like 5 minutes of it and then I'd have to go. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there were times where I had the sound going for more than one at a time for testing purposes. It was like I could sort of half figure out what was going on, and I would get the mouths confused. Like, why are they talking about that? But, and the video, the quality of the recordings, I was actually very impressed with how well those came out. I was not positive how well they would work, but they actually did a really nice job at YouTube. Or excuse me, at Zoom. Someone's asking for, they want a physical badge that I survived the virus con or something like that, pandemic edition.
Yeah, we don't have that.
Maybe throw something on Redbubble.
Yeah, I've got that one that I create, that little icon I created at Rose's suggestion. It's MileHiCon, not IRL, but it's alive. We could make that a little pin.
Yeah.
I was going to say we could certainly make a ribbon for next year that you could attach to your badge that you get if you.
Oh yeah, that would be good. Yes, that would be perfect.
With a little Max Headroom virtual background behind it.
Or no, a little coronavirus cartoony thing, yeah, on it, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it would be too tasteless to come next year as the coronavirus, just to actually just stuff the little things onto one's face.
Oh, come on, Arlen. When has that stopped you? I can see you doing that, Arlen.
Or someone coming in a full hamster ball.
Yeah. Yeah, Rose, pretend I didn't say that. I might use that one for Kerval. and again, I'm not.
What was that? I missed that chat.
Oh, Rose would like to have some hard copy of a program progress report and would be willing to do most of the work. She's COVID retired, so she has more time. She'd hate to see this historic year disappear.
I can send you the electronic version of it if you want to type it up into some format, but or you can output it. But
yeah, I'm not sure what exactly you mean. Just like the numbers, or I don't know exactly what you're referring to.
I think she just wants to do a little post-con booklet of what happened, and just like a memorial thing or something like that.
Am I unmuted now?
You are.
Oh, okay. So no, what I'm actually thinking, Linda, years ago, there was one year where in addition to the program book, we did a regress report. That was because that was back at the old airport Sheraton, and partway through Saturday, somebody ran through, had nothing to do with the convention, and snatched the cash box. So the convention was in some financial difficulties, and I put together a regress report after the fact that people paid like $3 for, and it helped build back the treasury. So I'm thinking Meg has all the information on the participants. You know, we have the schedule. There's some other stuff that could go in. I don't think it would be as thick, but I've heard other people here and there saying they would really like something. We have the Great Art by Alan Pollock. Even if it's only like a 14, 16 page thing, I'm thinking of contacting History Colorado in the not distant future to say, I've got these records of MileHiCon going back to the beginning. I've got DASPA records. It's a minor weird part of Colorado history, but it is Colorado history. And this is such a historic year in so many ways. I hate to see it just kind of be, oh yeah, that's a year that we don't have anything tangible from.
Well,
And-
this is akin to the DonnerCon year.
Yeah.
Yes, but,
Oh, wow.
you
yeah.
know, and like I said, I mean, I don't think it needs to be as big. I can do a lot of it or much of it. But like I said, I just hate to see it be the year with the asterisk and nothing else.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, we'll see what we can do.
We actually were talking about DonnerCon this morning in 10 Forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come up with
For those who don't know what DonnerCon was the year of the big blizzard in October. God, when was that? Like 20 years ago? Or
Like
more?
88 or 89.
Yeah.
It was in the 90s because I didn't
98,
start till
98 or 99.
97.
97? Wow.
Yeah.
whatever.
I somehow distinctly remember that year, and I'm pretty sure it was 97.
Yeah, and we were literally the blizzard. It was supposed to get 6 inches of snow, and it got 3 feet of snow, and it all came Friday night. And if you made it to the convention Friday afternoon, you were stuck. You could not leave the hotel, and there was no restaurants open, and
They all ran out of food. at the
and-
hotel.
and
Yeah,
the
they were
hotel-
cleaning out the back of the refrigerator at the kitchen.
at the hotel. That's right. They were cleaning out the refrigerator and the kitchen at the hotel. You couldn't go out to get food, and everybody was just stuck there the whole weekend until the roads were cleared. And we had some people who had 4-wheel drives going out and rescuing people who were stuck on the road. It was a crazy convention.
Yeah, I just went and looked up the history on our main MileHiCon site. It was October 24th to 26th, 1997.
Okay, yeah.
I remember
that was-
Ed. Ed was our Toastmaster that year,
That's
and he
right.
came Friday, but he was
Yeah.
saving us money. So he went home to sleep, and he was going to stay overnight Saturday, and then he couldn't make it back until Sunday about noon.
Yeah.
I remember hiking through the snow to the Denny's across the street that was the Union
Yeah.
Street Sheraton, and it was like, I don't know that we're gonna get back. And they didn't have any food either. They were open, but they had they had like a handful of things at that point.
Well, that none of the food trucks could get to any of the restaurants to deliver. Those trucks deliver every day.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was craziness. Yeah, that was totally craziness. Yeah. But we
Gaming
had,
was so popular because we had all our game masters there early. We were
Yeah,
the only
yeah.
ones fully staffed.
It
Oh,
was
and
fun.
we-
It was
and we
crazy, but it
actually-
was fun.
the people that were there, we actually had a record art show sales that year because there was nothing else for people to do. So they just wandered through the art show and made final decision. Yes, I'm getting that picture after walking through it 10 times.
Well, it makes perfect sense because, well, I have to choose between food or art, and there's no food to buy. So
So I'll buy art. yeah.
I just saw people eating prints in the lobby. And, no.
Yeah,
There-
no, it
there
was,
were so many-
this
there
is
was-
definitely akin to that.
Yeah, there were so many participants that year that couldn't make it.
Yeah,
You know, it's
yeah.
like every time I walked through the lobby, there'd be a phone call for me. And about the third call, I just started answering it. Hi, where are you snowed in? And, you know, I would cruising around, and I don't know if Daniel Dvorkin is listening here, but I went into one of the rooms one time just circling, and he was the only panelist for the program that had shown up, that had been able to show up. And he had just pulled everybody into a circle, and they were just talking about the subject, and I'm going, cool, move on.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, and that's the same thing. We had a Friday, we had our system down and everybody got together, figured out how to make it work, and it worked, you know, so, and it went on and everybody had a good time despite the issues. So that's the way it should be. Don't let it,
Absolutely.
you know, get you down. Just move, just go forward with it.
Yeah. This whole thing, I mean, it has a little bit of that Blitz feel to it, you know, like just sort of coming together, and everyone was, even though we were all separated, it just felt like, you know, everyone, the panelists and the attendees were like, yeah, okay, yeah, this is going to be a pain, but we'll work around whatever. And, you know, fewer buzz bumps. I also have to say, I was feeling kind of sorry for myself at the end of Friday because it was a little hectic. And then I put on the news and they were interviewing first responders dealing with COVID. I'm like, God, I'm a jerk.
Why am I complaining?
Yeah, I have
Yes.
no basis for that's like my life. Like I had to spend a lot of time dealing with panels. Oh no, you know, I mean.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I mean, you sit and you complain about your life, but then you go, you look at somebody else's life and you go, man, I'm lucky. I'm
Yeah.
lucky. And you have to thank your little lucky stars for some stuff, that you aren't as bad off as some people are. And might be inconvenient for you, but oh well. Again, like you said, we just move on.
Yeah.
We go on.
I think I got the mental refresh I needed this weekend. Even though I was on a computer all weekend, I still got that mental refresh and reset that I've been needing for a while.
Well, so I think we got so many good vibes and so much good energy coming through the chats on Discord and everybody's comments and stuff. There was just lots of good energy that came through that.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was not a live con, but it had a lot of that vibe that you get from hanging out with your friends and talking about interesting things and listening to really knowledgeable people talk about interesting things. And I just, you know, I honestly, before the con, I was like, I don't know how this, and I was completely converted because I was just sort of, people were just jumping in and doing all this stuff. I really enjoyed the content that I was involved in, and I'm also really, really glad it's over.
I am too. I am too, actually. Tomorrow, I was supposed to go to work tomorrow. I'm going to call in sick and do nothing. Absolutely nothing. I'm just going to park myself in front of the TV and I think I'm going to watch old episodes of Deep Space Nine because I had never watched Deep Space Nine at the beginning. That's what I'm going to do.
Explain to me why that's on BBC America too, because.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm getting it on Netflix. So
Oh, okay.
whatever.
Cool.
Yeah, I always take the Monday after the convention off.
Yeah.
It'll be a full day off for you, Linda. No loadout, no unpacking.
I know, because usually Mondays I'm still working on Mondays on the convention because we're having to load everything out, reload everything back into my shed and my house, and and then we all go get lunch. Whether it's last 2 years, it's been over at the new Indian buffet in East Indian food. But I figured when I made the suggestion on the Discord Concom thing that we all have Chinese food, we all ordered Chinese food today because that's kind of was the old tradition to have Chinese food on loadout day. So now we just have loadout evening that we're done. And so we can all order Chinese food and have Chinese food together.
I'm making coconut
because you're not
curry.
going to find Indian food around very much to order, but Chinese food you can easily order that.
I'm just making coconut curry right now because I had a jar of simmer sauce. So hey,
there you go, close enough.
Yeah, we have a butter chicken going in the crock pot.
Sorry, as I fall asleep on the desk.
All right, I'm not seeing any other questions.
I'm going to take advantage of being microphoned into once again to say, oh my God, you tech people, I genuflect at your feet. I mean, if I mean, there's like several of you that it's like, I think if Arlen hadn't been there, if Meg hadn't been there, if Joel, there's like several of you that if we knocked any one of you out, the whole Jenga would have fallen on people and bonked them. You know, but you guys, you were just amazing.
I
Totally
am frequently associated with a thick wooden plank too, so the
That's right.
Jenga thing is really appropriate.
Thick as a plank. Thick as a plank, Arlen.
Yeah.
Well, is that like, yes, sir, can I have another? I mean, I don't understand that reference.
Oh, the
Oh,
thick as
no,
a
I
plank
was-
was a Jethro Tull reference.
No,
Oh.
it was purely I'm English and I don't take compliments well. So
It's your head with a plank?
she was saying that we were basically like a Jenga tower. If one of us were removed,
Oh,
we would
all right,
collapse.
I missed that.
And
Okay,
I
well,
am much
see,
like a Jenga.
See, just
block.
over my head, I'm too tired too, so.
So Meg, are you gonna start Dead Dog or?
I am going to start the Dead Dog.
Good, then I don't.
I'll
have to-
keep it going for a bit, and then hopefully someone else can take over hosting.
Okay, Linda, do you, I will put together today's report eventually. Did you give numbers, by the way, for?
Oh, well, I did earlier. I didn't at this one, and I can give them, but is there very many? No, there's still 35 people. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So we had, our last count was 403 people at the site.
It's amazing.
We had about, that's about a third of what our usual live attendance is. Let's see, we had about 120 different programs, which is about half the number that we have. And we originally were planning on, Meg was originally talking about having 50 and it ended up being 120. So it grew a bit. We had like 90 authors, or well, no, it was more like 100. So anyway, so we're like about 80% of what we usually have on participants, which isn't off by too much. We had a couple hundred, over 200 people on Discord. So still only half the people never even got on Discord. And so some of the people missed out a lot. But then conversely, I think some of the people that were on Discord never got on the website. They would get to the website, would never log in. So, you know, whatever. It still worked either way. And we had an average of, on Friday nights, Friday days, programs had an average of 47 people per program. On Saturdays, that had an average of 57 people per program. On Sunday, we were in the 40s per program. So that's pretty good. We would be happy with that during the live show. So it was still good turnout. And overall, you know, my original plan was if we can get at least 200, I was going to be a happy camper. So now it's twice what the original thought was. And so I'm a very happy camper. I'm a very happy camper with how it turned out. And and people can still register for next year. You get on the register on the MHC 52 site and go to the registration tab and go down to MileHiCon 53 and register. So you can still register for next year. I don't have anybody signed up yet. Everybody that I've contacted so far hasn't wanted to commit because they're still afraid of COVID and they don't know what's going on. And so they just don't want to commit yet. I've got one tentative from John Scalzi, if he can talk his publisher into getting us on his tour lineup for October, he can probably come, but that's still really tentative, so it's nothing definite. But that's about it.
I believe we have about 45 people already registered for next year's convention.
Oh, okay, because the last time I looked, we had about 30, so we've picked up 15.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get somebody. It's just, you know, people aren't wanting to commit immediately like they usually do, which I understand that.
Yeah,
And
so to your comment about 50 panels, Linda, we had a total of 86 panels scheduled, 62 of which were live in some form. And then because we had all the readings done solo, we had some 35 authors
Yeah,
who did readings.
yeah, so we had a lot going on. a lot more.
Under promise and over deliver.
Well, it's like I said at the other show, we're all kind of overachievers.
Mhm.
And for what it's worth, the panels were averaging 30 to 50 people.
Yeah.
The biggest one was 82, which was opening ceremonies. The masquerade was second with 78. Today there were some big ones, but I don't think anything was quite that big. Closing ceremonies had a fair number. I don't have exact numbers because I have to bring in the Twitch stuff. The Afterlife panel was very popular. The GM panel was very popular. The Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies panel was popular, despite the fact that I was on it.
I should have gone to that, man. I've got some Bitcoin.
Really? Did you get
Yeah,
it?
I did.
Wow.
I've only got like a quarter of a Bitcoin, but I got some.
A quarter of a Bitcoin coin still worth several $1,000s.
Yes, I know that. I know. I got Coinbase set up on my phone, man. I look at it all the time.
Yeah. We spent a lot of time explaining how Bitcoin is is not a good thing, except as a speculation vehicle. So you are using it for exactly what it's good for.
Oh, I'm hodling, man. I'm hodling for sure. See, I know those terms. I've been paying attention. I might be an oldster, but investing money, I saw this, and when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, this is the new thing. I'm in. Well, I couldn't be in for very much, but I'm in.
Linda, and this may be overly optimistic, be asking this question now. I know we currently have the hotel under contract. Do we have any thought on when we'd be making a live versus virtual decision for next year?
No, we don't have any decision on that. And we would be in the same exact situation as we were for this year. So we would technically have to make a decision today if we were not going to have it to keep the cancellation fees down.
Okay.
Way down. So nah.
Yeah,
that's how the hotels get you in over a barrel.
Rose during the masquerade said something about, and maybe next year we might be virtual too. And I screamed out loud. Screamed and hit my fist on the table at even the thought that we would still be virtual. Occasional bits of virtual stuff, fine, but yeah, no.
I think
I refuse to accept.
All going to be there with the MileHiCon 53 logo masks we bought off Redbubble. Keeping our distance, doing our hand sanitizing, elbow bumping.
Well, see, that was the whole issue, was there was no way in hell. We figured, I sat and I looked at that hotel. We could have technically had a convention live, but the whole hotel function space would not have been enough for the number of people that we usually have to keep 6 foot distance. You could not have kept that distance with the number of people, period. We would have, whereas we usually get like 300 people in the main events room, we could have probably had 60 in there to keep the distance.
We could have accommodated as many people in real life as we did at virtual.
Yes, you're absolutely right, Rose. That is exactly it. That is exactly it. If we'd had a line for people to line, we would literally, to keep them 6 feet apart, we would have literally had a line going all the way down 2 blocks down the street. So it wouldn't have worked, period.
Yeah,
it could not have worked.
Yeah, and again, it's not about running the convention a year. The idea of a year.
I understand.
I will be building a bunker somewhere at that point. I don't know.
Just as long as you make it out of toilet paper.
Yeah, well, in England, traditionally, we make things out of toilet paper rolls and fairy liquid bottles, which you call ivory here. So ivory liquid bottles is sort of the traditional construction materials for 14.
Yeah, yeah. No, if this or another virus comes along and puts us back all into quarantine into this stuff, there probably won't be a hotel. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
The hotel would be gone, because how could they even be in existence and pay for what their lease payments must be, millions of
Yeah,
dollars.
especially you open a hotel and then COVID hits. That's got to be brutal.
So yeah.
Sorry,
And and the Marriott, see, they just 1 year ago just did that major remodel. That must have cost them millions of dollars. So they've got all of that I'm sure that they're paying on still. And then they've got their franchise. It's a franchise, I found out. It's not a direct Marriott owned, it's a franchise. So that hotel, whoever owns that hotel has to be paying franchise fees to Marriott. Those ain't going to change because of COVID. So, so they've got their own issues. They've got their own issues. So I can imagine if this continues for another, they probably won't be around. And probably won't be lots of hotels won't be around.
My thinking on that topic is it's a pretty strong possibility we'll have in person, but especially the fact that we had people sign up from Ireland and England and Canada, and we had panelists and costumers from all over the country. I think we definitely need to be kind of planning for some more hybridization, and having some more of the virtual elements to it, so that we can still engage that broad of an audience.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. We have to look at that aspect. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll be able to have a 100% virtual and live at the same time. Well, I know we can't. I mean, the manpower and the costs would be way out of our budget. And
but having one of the rooms set up for true video conferencing where
that might be possible.
Where a panelist or some number of the panelists can be from other places and they can see the audience and the audience can see them. I mean, that's not that hard.
The biggest issue there is the Wi-Fi. Believe it or not, the Wi-Fi costs in the hotel are a lot.
Yeah.
And how much they charge for that, and how good it is, and how good the streaming would be, and so on and so forth. That would be the biggest issue, I think. But anyway,
of course
it's something to look at and
them.
something to consider. But
Yeah.
Another option might be to have a room where you run pre-recorded panels, but people can do, and if you have some of the people who are local, then they could stick around and answer questions, even if we can't Skype in the fur away people.
Yeah. And then the other thing too is that because we had so many readings this time, we had way more readings than we do at the live show. So we could have a lot of readings from authors all over the flipping world. That could be virtual, and anybody attending could watch it anytime on their phone, at home, whatever. So I can see that definitely having that. So yeah, there's lots of things possible, but what's going to happen is, really dependent on what happens almost with the rest of the world here and the COVID and all this other stuff. So
I'm just pretending that we'll be back to, I don't know that we're going to be back to normal, but I think we will be a lot. I don't know if it's my self-convincing, I'm just convincing myself of this, but I just think we will be in a better state because I don't want to keep dealing with things the way they are. I don't want to get into politics and medicine and stuff, but
I saw Wes's question on there about being locked into the hotel internet. Since Joel is not here and he's our hardware guy that handles that, I figured I'd offer up what I know. We have in the past, when we were at the Hyatt, tried to use like Verizon hotspots to kind of do our own internet. And at least at that hotel, it was kind of hit or miss. And it's about how the hotel is built, the materials used, things like that. Oh, Joel is kind of around. He did a comment. So yeah, so he was able to put that in. For those who may not see that, he said for the amount of bandwidth we'd need, we'd ideally want to use the hotel network. Cell networks can only get us so far.
Yeah, and
So,
then that depends on how much they're going to charge. Because at the Hyatt, when we were at the Hyatt to use the Hyatt's Wi-Fi system, it was going to be $1,000 per day to have it on. So that's when we decided, no, we're doing our own. Because we were going to pay $3,000 for that, just for, you know, it just wasn't worth it to us. You know,
yeah, at the time it was just running our registration system, the art show, and for vendors.
Yeah, and you know, and most of the people could use their phones still and make it happen. So it wasn't worth that amount of money for us to do it. And now for next year, like I said, I know that their Wi-Fi is high, but I don't know exactly. They work on a totally different system than how the Hyatt worked. And I'm not sure exactly how their system works and what it would cost for that. But see, those are all third parties. The hotel themselves doesn't handle that. They hire another company to come in and do all of that. And so,
And that's really where the markup comes in, is that other company, you know, knows it.
Yes. And of course and that's their AV company too. See, they want you to rent all the AV stuff and blah, blah, blah. You know, if you did everything that they wanted you to do, it would cost you as much to get all their AV stuff as we use as it would cost us to rent all the function rooms. You know, and it's like, well, no, we would be non-existent then. You know, I mean, we have most of our own tech stuff. Yeah, it might be old stuff, but it still works. And so we don't have to rent most of it. And the amounts that they'll charge you as much as if you went out and bought it new yourself. And you're renting it for a day. And it's like, it's totally ridiculous. But then they also want you to have their people there to run it at, you know, 40, 50 bucks an hour. And, you know, and it's like, no, we can't afford that stuff. But if you're some big fancy company that just says, yeah, we're going to have this conference and they'll just pay $200,000 to run a conference, it's like, okay, you know, you guys got the bucks, fine, you know, but you know, we don't have that kind of money. We work on a shoestring and we make enough to have the conference and then we have enough left over to get started for the next year, and that's about it. So.
And what were they charging if someone mistakenly asked for a microphone? There was one year where we had to say, don't ask for a microphone in the room, go to Hotel Liaison, because they were charging like 50 bucks to bring in a microphone. Yeah. I mean,
Oh yeah, and it's totally crazy. They would charge at the Hyatt just to have the big screen in the video room brought down was $50. And the guy would go in and hit a button, 50 bucks. You know, so it's, you know, and then we stopped having coffee put in the vendor's room because they were going to charge us $325 for one of those 5-gallon coffee pots. It's like, no, I don't think so. The vendors can go down to the lobby and buy their own coffee at the low coffee shop. So I mean, it's just, but that's how the hotels get you. They get you on all the little niggly, they literally nickel and dime, but their nickel and dime isn't nickel and dime. They're like $100, $200, $300 dimes, you know, is how they get you. And that's how they make a lot of their money. And people just don't even have a clue until they get that final bill on how much it costs. But if you've got some bigwig company, it doesn't even matter, but to us it does. So we have to watch all of our pennies. And that's why with me, I'm always watching the pennies and keeping track of what we got and what we have. And so it's, that's my job. But if it didn't, we wouldn't be around as long as we have been. And that's why a lot of conventions just disappear, because they just get hit with all these costs that they can't even pay because they didn't pay attention to the details and didn't ask the questions.
By the way, Jen, I just wanted to bring this up. We need to take the Zoom links off of the site. I don't know that I'm up for it tonight, but maybe tomorrow I'll regenerate the same pages, but without the links, just because people just sort of randomly click on links and suddenly I get notifications that Zoom meetings are being started and stopped.
As has been said many times before, there's a button I must push.
Yes.
Well, and so you're going to have to take all those links off of Discord too.
Yeah. I'm less worried about that because they've all streamed off into the past. I think it's just, I've gone to this page like, oh, there's a coffee clutch. I'll click on that. It's different than I scroll through a whole bunch of old messages and find a link to click on.
I think people will scroll through a bunch of old messages and still try it.
Maybe, yeah. Because I don't know. I think Jill's not on. I don't know if there's any automated way of doing that or not.
Oh, you can delete messages.
Right, but do you want to scroll through thousands of messages to find?
Right, I think he's thinking like if we do a search, if we do a search for zoom.us, will that give us every link and we can just delete them in bulk type thing? I don't know if that'd do it.
Jen.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah. I just wanted to mention that this is something we need to worry about. So if you see me going to pages and changing them, it's purely because people are
because I told Joel to leave the chat rooms up for at least a couple weeks, because some people put links to like where you can buy their books, other movie links that they liked, other bookstores that they liked, other information here, you can get it here. And that's the only place that those links are at.
Yeah.
And so some people I'm thinking are going to come back and they are going to scroll through looking for that kind of information that I know they said that, I know they said that, and they're going to be looking for it. So I figure if we leave it up for a couple of weeks, they'll be able to go back and find that stuff that was put in those chat rooms.
Yeah.
Arlen, that's something I could volunteer to help on. You probably have tech people, and if you can do a search for zoom.us, but I could also, start going back through some of the like Asgard or whatever and just deleting the links, if that would be helpful.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind. I'm not so worried about the webinar links as I am about the meeting links. But yeah, I think if you click on the webinar links, it will just say no. But some of the meetings, it said, oh, someone tried to get into this meeting, so it's trying to start those.
So the coffee clutch links would be something to go after?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are meeting links. Yeah.
Yeah, I can start poking around and deleting those.
Yeah.
That's at my level of expertise.
Okay, thanks. Yeah.
Deleting stuff. That's it. Deleting stuff.
Yeah, it's basically Avastrom, Clatch, Filking.
And the
belly
whiteboard.
dancing. Whiteboard?
Yep.
Yeah.
I meant just links to those things that might be in multiple places. For example, I posted some of those links into 10 Forwards because
yeah, but the whiteboard, we had like the Will's virtual Zoom party, the bar.
Oh, right.
That went in.
And people kept trying to click on that, and that's Will's personal Zoom.
I just went and deleted all the Will's ones. Doing a search for zoom.us found a lot of them, so I just went and deleted them.
Yeah,
okay, so we did it.
Adam.
Yay, Adam.
Why talk? Just do.
Yeah.
Very true. Okay, we are definitely over time. Do we have any last thoughts from our panelists or our attendees?
I just want to say thank you so much to all of our attendees and the participants and our guests of honor. They are what makes this convention work and be so amazing.
Yeah. And thanks, Linda, for putting all of this together. I think thanks is the right word. No, seriously, I'm this, herding cats is a difficult.
Yeah. Well, there were times here I was feeling a little lost because it was so new to me too. But, I have to think, like you said, like all you tech people who really put the hard stuff together, if you guys weren't here, it wouldn't have happened, period. Wouldn't have mattered how much I would have done. I couldn't have done it, period. So you guys are the ones to really thank to make sure that we had a virtual show. Righty, guys. So the link for the Zoom Dead Dog Party is going to be coming up soon. And
Yep.
Is this going to be an open party for everybody?
Yes, and like we discussed, I can set up a breakout room for ConCom and staff.
Okay. All righty.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.